Hi, this is Lethea with Farmview Creators. Today we're going to work on the shutter frame with 3 slots from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. I love the Paint Couture products, so I'm going to go in with the Van Dyke Brown Semi-Gel stain. I am starting on the back sides of the pieces to give it that finished look. Some of these pieces on my smaller sticky board only need to be stained on the fronts, so I'm just going ahead and giving them a layer and then getting it nice and dry. Accidentally forgot to plug in my heat tool there, so giving it a good dry and then deciding whether or not I want to do another layer of stain. On those sides that only need to be stained on one side, I will go back and put more layers. On the backs, I don't mind that it has just one layer of stain, so I am going to go ahead and flip it over and start staining the front sides. I use a terry cloth sponge for this. I got it at Lowe's. I've also gotten them off of Amazon. I like them because I can use one end to saturate with the stain, and then I can go back and wipe it back with the side that doesn't have any stains on it, just to pick up any excess and make sure that it's not streaky. So in between each layer of stain, I am making sure that I get it nice and dry so that it will build up the depth of that Van Dyke brown. I'm making short kind of swipes at first, and then I always go back and do the full length of the piece to make sure that it's not streaky or splotchy and that it's an even coat. Hitting those little pieces. I do like to put all my pieces on a sticky board just to hold them down and make them a little more stable so they're not sliding around quite as much on my silicone pad. So I'm giving it one more good layer. Kind of had to hold it there. My sticky board was not standing up to the test of time. I'm getting that nice and dry. Now all of my pieces for the front have the same amount of layers of stain. Making sure it's really, really dry this time. And then I'm going to make sure I don't have any blotches of stain. And on the back I had a little bit of excess from the front, so I just blended that in, kind of placing my pieces where they're going to go to see how it looks so far. And I'm going to go in with Debi's DIY dark wax and I think it's a stenciling brush I got in a pack for very little money from Amazon. I think it was like a 4-pack, and just hitting the edges of those pieces with some wax, rubbing it back anytime I get too much, just giving it that distressed look. Even though it's stained, this will still show up and give it a little more depth, and that's why I'm doing it. And then once I've got that like I want it, I'm gonna make sure I seal up my brush because I finally did get it in a Ziploc baggie. And I'm gonna go in with my Dead Flat Paint Couture top coat. It takes away all of the shine, and I'm just hitting it with a thin layer. Anytime I have a little excess on the edges, I'll wipe that back. I love this top coat. It might be my favorite ever. I'm into a matte finish, so this is perfect. Just making sure I have that even and that I get all of the places. And then giving that a good dry. And then I am going to go in and hit the pieces that are double-sided with an even thinner coat on the back. And I did want to wipe up my area a little bit so I didn't get any more splotches of stain on the front. Super thin coat on the back. And then hitting that with a dryer. Getting it nice and dry before I flip it back over. And then I'm putting my sponge and my brush in my sink. because I do reuse my sponges, and I'm going to start gluing the pieces together with my art glitter glue. I love this glue because it has such a thin nozzle, and you can get just really, really thin stripes of the paint. Anytime I have any excess on the edges, I'm wiping it up. It does glue clear, so, or dry clear, so I'm not really worried about that, but I just don't like the bubble look, which I always notice. I know other people would never pick up on it. Those top pieces fit straight across, flush with the board, over that little piece that does not have the gap there that's holding the two sides together. Then I'm kind of fitting in the joint for the back easel, and I'm figuring out exactly where I want to have it, and it's just slightly above the second hole on the board. So I'm making sure that I get that lined up, that it's centered, and that it's just where I want it. Putting some pressure. I did put quite a bit of glue on that piece, so I wanted to clean it up. And then here's the mini barn quilts that I painted in a previous video, and they fit perfectly in this. They are made to go together. So if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.